I'm going to show you how to make an unkillable mimic tier that will tank the bosses, kill every boss in the entire game that you can summon it on, all while you sit back and do absolutely nothing. And let me explain right now, it's all about the gear. It's pretty much broken. There's no way they're going to not nerf this, so let's get into it, okay? So, for the weapon, you want to use Great Stars, alright? Now, with Great Stars, because Great Stars does blood loss buildup, and every time it attacks something, it also restores HP. It's very nice to have on your Mimic tier as a sort of passive heal. But, for the Ash of War, we're using something called Prayerful Strike, alright? And it looks like this. Now, in the middle of this attack, it has what's called Super Armor, which means that once the attack is commenced, nothing will be able to knock you out of it except for very, very heavy hits. So what this means also is that when this attack connects, it will heal you, the player, or the Mimic tier, whoever casts it, for 30% of their maximum HP. Alright, so a Mimic tier has 7,233 HP at level 10, which means it will restore around 2,100 health. You can see here that I have 2,100 HP. So if you look at my health bar at the top of the screen, every time the Mimic tier hits with this, that is how much HP it will heal. It's an insane amount. It's really, really crazy, alright? Next up is the shield. You can use any kind of great shield. I'm just using this icon shield for the memes. What icon shield does is it gives you HP per second as long as you're holding it. That's it. It's just another little passive heal for our Mimic tier. Finally, I'm using the full Bull Goat armor set, and the reason why is because this is the highest physical defense in the game. It also has very nice poise, so if you're fighting like a speedy boss that doesn't have a heavy weapon, your Mimic tier will not be interrupted during its attacks. Now, let's go over the talismans, okay? You're going to be using the Blue Feathered Branch Sword. Now, remember, the Mimic tier has 7,233 health, and once its health goes below 20%, which is, I think, 1,900 something, I could be wrong on that, maybe a little bit less, maybe like 1,500, this will kick in and increase all of your defenses by 50%, okay? So right now we can see that my defenses are 65. Alright, now of course this is with full HP, but if I take this off, put on something else, it's 50% physical negation. So what that means is we're going to increase that by another 50%, making it 75%. Alright? Now, the Ritual Shield Talisman, because your Mimic tier is going to be at full HP for the majority of the fight, because it will be using Prayerful Strike and basically fully healing, alright? This dramatically increases your defense by another 15%, which may not sound like much, but it's very additive, okay? It adds up. It's like, if a boss does a big heavy hit and you negate 15% of that, that is far more than you would get from any other talisman, unless you want to go offensive, but then again, you know, you don't really need to. Your Mimic tier is already pretty tough. You could also try to use this Crimson Amber Medallion, which is an 8% HP increase. So 8% of 7,200 is something like 550, I think, just off the top of my head. So that would give an additional 550 HP to your Mimic tier and increase your Prayerful Strike healing just a little bit more. Now, the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, this is pretty huge for defense. If I just take this off and put something else on, that lowers my my defense by a lot. It's like wearing a full armor set, okay? And then finally, you want Shabiri's Woe when you summon the Mimic tier. You want to take this off after you summon it. This is basically a taunt. This is like an MMORPG aggro. It will consistently get the boss's attention as long as you don't interact with the boss. The boss will only focus on your Mimic tier. So this is an absolute must-have. If you're playing an early version of the game, this doesn't work for some reason, but if you're playing one of the later patches, this currently works. Alright, now also, you want to make sure that you don't have any items in your inventory, because also don't have other alternate weapons or spells or anything equipped, because you want your Mimic tier to only use Prayerful Strike and just regular attacks. You don't want him to dick around with using items, you don't want him to mess around throwing stones or anything of the sort. Alright, and even if you unequip your Flask of Crimson Tears, which is going to heal a paltry amount compared to Prayerful Strike, he'll still use it anyway, even if it's not in your inventory, so there's really not much you can do there. Now, also, there's a few other things that you can do, too, to increase your Mimic tier's potential. If you have the Great Rune, Mog's Great Rune, what this does, this grants a Blessing of Blood to Phantoms. So what is that? Anytime your Mimic tier kills something, you will heal 10% HP of your max HP. Now, that's pretty cool if there's like trash mobs in a fight or something, but most bosses don't really have multiple enemies. Yeah, there's some fights where you fight 2 or 3 things at a time, but essentially, this is just a 10% heal on trash mobs. But also, if, for whatever reason, anything bleeds, including yourself, around your your mimic tier, he will gain 20% increase in damage for 30 seconds. So what you can do, because we're using the Great Stars, which causes bleed, he's going to be bleeding the enemy and getting a 20% damage buff. You can also run next to him and seppuku yourself, and that will also give him a 20% damage buff, alright? Now, of course, you can swap any of these out for more damage if you want. If all you care about is damage, you can totally gear for damage. But this video is about making him unkillable, unbeatable, undefeatable, alright? And then finally, you can craft specialty pots that will make him even stronger, which is the Cursed Blood pot, alright? The ingredients to get here are pretty easy. Beast Blood, Blood Rose, all super easy stuff. So you can put some of these on, and for whatever reason, you just throw it at the enemy, and what this does is, this is like a lock-on mechanism. If there's multiple enemies and you throw this at one enemy, he will only focus one of the enemy that you throw the pot on, but his AI will be far, far more aggressive. So, let me show you what I'm talking about. We're going to put into action, I've summoned the Mimic Tier. I'm going to make sure to take off my Shabiri's Woe, because I don't want to get aggro. Also, if you want to have fun, these little things here, the Furled Fingers Trick Mirror and the Host Trick Mirror, do work on your Mimic Tier. This one that takes the appearance of a host of fingers will turn it into it'll look just like you, there's no aura. This one will turn it blue. So it's up to you if you want to use one of those. But essentially, we're just going to take off, I'm just going to put this on. Yeah, I know. This is not, don't worry about what I'm wearing. This is all about the Mimic Tier today, okay? And then you just go to the boss, and we're just going to throw a Blood Curse pot on him. And there you go. And have fun, Mimic Tier. Now, let's watch. This boss has an incredibly high amount of damage. And yeah, right now the boss is targeting me. But as soon as as our Mimic Tier engages him, you know, we're pretty much safe at this point, okay? So our Mimic Tier is doing work. Look at his health. Wait for him to do Prayerful Strike. And he's taking big hits here. He's taking some pretty big hits. I'm going to go ahead and top off myself, just in case. And you can see that the Mimic Tier has barely lost any HP. Alright. The Mimic Tier will also throw his own blood pots. So he will refresh the blood, the frenziness that he's got going on, which is pretty cool too. But again, you don't have to use it if you don't want to. I generally don't, because I don't use pots too much. Look at him go. He's just nailing the bosses and more pots. Oh, good stuff. Alright, and you can see our Mimic Tier, he's like barely scratched. If he hits one Prayerful Strike, that's a full heal. Alright, and he's still throwing those pots. This is why you don't want to load him up with a bunch of items, because he's just going to use the items the whole time. Go on, Mimic Tier. Show him that Prayerful Strike. Make Daddy proud. Alright, he's there. Here we go. Oh, the boss dodged. Okay, if that would have landed, that's a full heal. That's a 30% of the Mimic Tier's maximum HP heal. Oh, no, okay, you got interrupted there. Again, this is a very dangerous boss that we're going to use this on. Here we go. Oh, it missed. Don't worry, he'll land it, and he lands it often, okay? This is actually kind of a more bad example, but hey, even at his worst, look how much he's kicking butt. The boss is already halfway dead here. And yeah, there's a few harder bosses in the game. We could show off. We can go fight some harder stuff here. Especially ones that, you know, do things like rot. If you're fighting a magical boss, you do want to load up your Mimic Tier with magic resistance. Alright, and of course, if the boss casts Scarlet Rot, you want to put some items on to heal that for your Mimic Tier to use. Or you can always, you know, use support magic. Like, I could be healing my Mimic Tier, but he's got so much HP, there's no need. I just want him to land one Prayerful Strike for us. Here we go. Boom! Look at his health. Oh, man. Like, that just negated half the fight right there. Oh. And he'll do it more and more when he's low on HP, too. Like, the AI knows what it does. It knows how to use it. Alright? And yes, I'm aware that we could just run up and kill this thing very, very quickly with our kit. You know, I don't have to have the Mimic Tier do it, but if you want, if you just want to be a summoner, this is how it works, alright? Now, we haven't even seen the Mimic Tier get below 20% HP, okay? But when he does, that 271 becomes less than 100, that 236 less than 100, and it's crazy how just strong and tanky the Mimic Tier actually gets. Yeah, 319. How much damage did I take from that? I took about the same amount. All right, Mimic Tier is about half HP. All right. And again, he's not anywhere close to being dead, because when he hits that 20% threshold, his effective HP will go through the roof of those defenses. Also, there's now a militia man that's in the fight, which the Mimic Tier has aggro on as well. So the militia man won't go after us. So he's about to beat the Black Blade Kindred here. There we go. Militia man is down because the Black Blade just took him out. And with the leap attack, it's down. And there we go. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see him drop below 20%, and we only got to see him Prayerful Strike one time. He did attempt it multiple times, but again, that's a pretty hard boss, and he was able to completely solo that no problemo. All right, so let's go show off some more bosses. I think this will be fun. All right, let's try fighting a ranged opponent here. This big old dragon. Now, what I've done is make sure that you re-equip Shabiri's Woe. All right, that's very important. I'm just gonna go ahead and take that off now, and make sure that maybe if you don't want him throwing pots around, just have one pot in your inventory. That's it. All right, so now we're gonna go and engage the dragon here, and actually I'm gonna heal up before I engage the dragon, even though I'm level capped at all, but it's still nice to have. We're just gonna drive by, throw a pot in his face, hooah, right in his mouth. He can taste it, right? And there goes the Mimic Tier. Let's see how he does. Dragon versus Based Lad, Base Chad. Alright, right now the dragon is still on me until our Mimic Tier engages him. He's over there biting his ankles, basically. Alright, go get him, Mimic Tier. It's all you, baby. Oh, he's rolling. Oh, no, he's eating the fire. Hey, it's not a big deal. Now, remember, I didn't put any... He actually blocked that. I didn't put any magic resist on him, so if I was knowing that he was a fire dragon beforehand, which obviously I do because dragons, shoot fire, I would give him more fire resistance so that he will take less damage, but in the end, it doesn't really matter, okay, because he's going to run up and bash those ankles, even though the AI does start... Oh, here we go. Oh, no, he missed. Now, the only downside to Prayerful Strike is it's a little slow coming out, so... highly evasive bosses might not be hit by it, but our dude here is so tanky. I mean, look at him go. He is just smashing those toes in. Now remember, every time he hits with the with this weapon here, oh, there's a Prayerful Strike. Boom, he's full health. He's got that defense bonus now because he's full HP. His shield keeps him at full HP. His regular attacks heal him as well. And there's another Prayerful Strike, even though he's max health for some reason. I mean, it's good damage. It's good stagger. 85 HP. That stomp only did 85 damage. Dude, that one swing in the few seconds with his shield out, that already healed him back. Now, of course, most players aren't going to just let their Mimic Tier, be by themselves. They also want to, jump into the fray and do some fighting. But, again, I just... like, this dragon is almost halfway dead, and our Mimic Tier stands strong. Alright, Mimic Tier, take the fire. Run in front of your Mimic Tier and be his bodyguard. Take the bullet, Mr. President, no. Oh no. You get the point, right? The Mimic Tier, it's so good. This Mimic Tier is unkillable. There's not a boss in the game that'll kill it. It's just too strong. And I don't know why the dragon is shooting off the bridge there, but alright, go get him. Go get him, stop being timid. Let's go. I should have really, maybe blocked that. Oh, Prayerful Strike, I heard it go off. I think it missed. Oh, yeah, he's sitting there swinging at the ground. Now, this build is not the most offensive Mimic Tier you can make. If you want a pure offensive and Mimic Tier to, speedrun and kill bosses, then you would use basically a bleed build. Like a dual-wielding power stance bleed build. Alright? But this Mimic Tier, he ain't dying. He's going to be able to kill everything. Alright, guys, that's pretty much the video. I'm SwoleBenji. Thanks for watching. As always, be a bro and stay swole. I make a video every single day on this channel, so come on back tomorrow, And to make sure that you don't miss that video, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. You can always unsubscribe later if I play something you don't like. Now, with that said, leave a like, leave a comment, okay? And comment on someone else's comments. Don't just talk to me, talk to each other. And also, if you're financially independent, you got lots of money because, you know, you're a smart person with a good job, why not become a channel member? It's $5 a month, and it's like becoming a Twitch sub, but on YouTube. You get special access to more private, more personal videos, and you get early releases on some videos, alright? Again, this Mimic tier is not super aggressive. What I could do is, I don't know, maybe if I attack him, the Mimic tier will start waking up more. But, you know, I'm free to basically attack him because the dragon will have his attention on the Mimic tier the whole time. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Come back tomorrow for another video. You don't want to miss it out because we got more cool stuff just like this. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you later.